baseball this Friday,
Yes? Oh, nice.
so it'll be fun.
Oh, where are you guys playing at? Here? Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the budget workshop. Today is Tuesday, May 26th. The time is 5:03. Clerk, please take the roll call.
Commissioner Brennan?
Here.
Is Commissioner Milligan online yet? Not yet. Commissioner Reardon?
Here.
Commissioner Murillo?
Here.
Commissioner Taylor?
Here.
Commissioner Milligan should be joining online shortly.
Okay, thank you. So we'll move on to discussion of the FY26 budget.
26 or 27?
I'm sorry, did I say 27? Meant 27. Thank you.
No, it's just it's turkey.
Yeah, I had a couple of folks mention that.
Yeah, I just haven't split the screen.
Those online as well, sir?
What's that?
Are you going to present for those online?
Yeah, and we were gonna post it. Okay, new faces, 1, 2, 3, 4. Any questions from Friday's workshop? Kind of all in the middle right there, so. You want a brief overview or overcap? Just for the new faces. And so basically on Friday we had a workshop where we went line item by line item by line item, went through this entire thing. Questions, I mean, highlighted cells that didn't make sense, coding assumptions, basically anything and everything. So at the end of the day, when we got down to the very bottom, just for a quick brief summary, our DFA budget that was passed last year was $12.8 million. We only had a revenue of roughly $9 million. We're still confirming that number. Our year-to-date spent, as of, have this month's hard costs come in?
Not yet, sir.
No, okay, so this is year-to-date at month 10, so we would still have a remaining 2 months. So our remaining balance between our budget, year-to-date spent, would be 2.1, and our projected would end up being 12.8, which was showing negative $25,000 deficit. That's a negative $25,000 deficit from our actual budget and from our DFA budget to what we are projected to spend by a year's end. But when you compare that number to the revenue, we had a $3.8 million deficit. Quick overview of the branches or the departments within the governing body. So these just make up the percentage of each department and their budget for our total budget. And so this is just, I know people have asked like how much PD is our budget, and the answer is 32%. And now they're at roughly 28%. Fire protection now is going to be 4.6%. Animal shelter, and yada, 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 so on and so forth. And by the way, if anybody wants a copy of this, just write me down your, I sent it to you. No, this is it. This is what we reviewed. There's 4 or 5 new individuals who weren't here Friday. Everybody else is familiar. Yeah, no, you're fine. But so if you want a copy of this, just give me your email. We'll send it to you. So that's just a brief overview of what happened on Friday. So then, before I pull this up, I just want to say I'm pretty proud of this, and Misty, town manager, I mean, how many hours we've all worked, and you especially, Misty, on bringing this together. It sucks because accountability went out the door, and we need to have policies to where each department head is managing their actual budget on a monthly basis, where managing the budget and having fiscal responsibility is actually taken serious, because it has not been. And I think this is an incredible step to that. There needs to be action on our end for the policy of it and the accountability aspect of it, of having those department heads manage this. But, I'm just gonna get it, and then we'll have some questions. So with our proposed 2027 budget, we are showing a savings of $45,000, which in government work is there, because everything is convoluted. So we went from $3.5 million to a balanced budget. And Misty, just thank you. I mean, this has been, I was up till 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock after my regular job, working on Friday stuff. And then I know you and I were texting yesterday. You were working on it on a holiday, so this is huge. So I'm just gonna leave this up, and I know this is the quick and dirty to get to our point, and then we will send the exact same thing that we did on Friday. So for 2027, here you go, line item by line item by line item, department by department, getting all the way down to the bottom to where all these numbers flush, and you guys, we will share that. So please just write down your email, and yeah. So I just want this to everybody to review. If you have questions, I'll leave it up on the screen. Misty, yep, basically. I don't really need to keep going in depth about it.
Devin, what is Municipal Street?
Where Municipal Street, Municipal Street 1.8. What is, Misty? I know, but.
So, if I may,
Yeah,
go ahead, sir, you got it.
Municipal Street up there, I'm just,
26.
part of the fun thing that was on the budget, and I don't know what fun things are all about, so that's why I'm asking.
So,
Municipal way is what you guys are referring to, which is that municipal street.
Yep.
That we call municipal, it's actually called municipal.
goes down to the roads department.
Oh, okay. Is this the, yeah. Okay, so it's roads department, so that's the breakdown, that 1,084,000 right here?
Yep.
This is the breakdown of that one. And so then Misty, do you want to talk on some of the things that you did? Because I know a lot of the comments and the concerns on Friday were each division, or department, I should say, having their own contract allegations, their own sort of what I call general condition stuff, line items like that, and do you just want to give an explanation of what you did?
Absolutely. So since our meeting on Friday, I continue to go through all of the department budgets line by line, transaction by transaction, to identify any one-time purchases, to identify anything that may have been miscategorized. I know there was a lot of discussion around the other operating budget line item in there for each department, so those were cleaned out and allocated to dues and subscriptions or professional services or whatever they should have been. But just kind of went through and identified all of those expenses that were not reoccurring expenses or that were categorized incorrectly and cleaned those up. So that's kind of how we got to this point as far as reducing the expenditures. The other thing that we also did, and this was done with the town manager and myself, is we evaluated what was actually spent by each department, and that's what their budget was based off of for FY27. So just actual expenditures.
I did receive a lot of positive feedback on the work you guys put into this. And just for the record, I would like to, for the minutes, to make sure that we recognize that Commissioner Milligan is online with us. Thank you. On the phone, I should say, correct?
He's on Teams online.
Can I go back to fund recap?
I'm on team, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, so we answered that one.
Devin, is this unchanged? I'm sorry for you. Is this unchanged from what we worked on?
There are changes. This is, from Friday to now, there's been 8 working hours. So there's still, this was to present. We did, if you noticed Friday, there was a special meetings because obviously I said I would really like a balanced budget. And so if we weren't able to obtain that today, I was texting Misty yesterday to try to get the special or the notification out for Friday as a just in case, because Friday we ended, obviously a long weekend, and so very limited true working hours to get this. But again, that's why I can't say thank you enough to Misty. She got it done today. And so, yeah, so then post this, post everybody seeing this, post approval, all that stuff, then it's a true look into it and making sure and letting all department heads know. I'll finish my draft on the policy of how I personally would like to see, but obviously it still has to go to everybody. Yeah, to answer your question longly, my bad.
Commissioner Taylor, may I?
Yeah, absolutely.
The other recommendation that we have from the staff is to do a mid-year review in January so that we can look at what the budgets are spending, what the cash flow is looking like, and then maybe revisit some of those one-time department requests for FY27 once we can fully evaluate how we're doing on our spending and cash flow. So if the commission's amenable to that, we would like to recommend that.
I like that as a biannual thing, but I still think it behooves us to do this, at least the commissioners be aware on a monthly basis, just like prior governing bodies were doing on the second meeting of the month. I think there needs to be quarterly reviews that are a little bit more in-depth, and then the biannual reviews can be where are we at, where do we see ourselves having the departments have their one-time requests, do we have the money for that, if we were to dip in reserves, what percentage of that. I just think there needs to be a lot more accountability to this, because this is what keeps the lights on, this keeps people employed, this puts food on the table. And we cannot ever have a $3.5 to $3.8 million deficit and expect to last more than 24 months.
I second that. We'll all second that.
The way it used to be, every second meeting of the month.
And maybe a special workshop for more in-depth on the quarterly. I mean, a lot of people have ideas, but I think it just begins with just us implementing at least one and getting one foot in front of the other and moving forward. So, does anybody else have any questions? Yes, ma'am.
In-depth on the revenues that are projected?
So I'll let Misty do the in-depths of the revenue projection.
Absolutely. So revenue is a lot easier to go through. No, I'm good.
Okay.
It's a lot easier to go through than expenditures, a lot fewer lines, a lot fewer departments. So basically in the general fund, which is the fund that Commissioner's showing now, you're going to have your gross receipts tax. There's a few different buckets of gross receipts tax. As you guys know, we have to track those certain ways per state statute. So those are tracked within the general operating fund revenue lines that you can see here. Also, the property taxes are tracked in here, and then as well as miscellaneous fees, so whether that be business licenses, building permits, printing and copying. We have some rental income, both from the community center and as well as the Old Town Hall building that we rent out to the state police. And so those are captured here in this general fund revenue budget that you see in front of you. And then moving down through the spreadsheet, you will see some special funds in here. So some of that is going to be grant and appropriation funding. Some of that, so like the new fund that we're going to hopefully have is the 20600, which is going to be the fire and EMS fund. That's budgeted in here, a portion of those gross receipts, of course, per that JPA. We have the lodger's tax revenue that's further down. If you keep scrolling down, Commissioner, they'll be able to, yeah, there's the special funds I'm referring to.
Oh,
So,
my bad.
yep, the 20600 that I'm talking about further down in the spreadsheet is going to be your lodger's tax. Of course, these are all special funds that have certain uses, so we can't just use them for general operating. These are set aside for certain things, but we still need to capture those within the budget. The municipal streets, they have a fund of their own. They do collect some gas tax for the municipal streets, so that's captured within that fund. The cannabis fund under that, I know that was a big question last time. That's the cannabis excise tax that is collected, and that is used right now for the abatement in planning and zoning for property abatements. Let's see, we also have The GO bond, that's a special fund. Of course, that was a financing mechanism that the town implemented years ago, so there's a portion of property taxes that goes to the GO bond fund. Wastewater is also an independent fund, and so they, of course, get the utility service fees, and they also get a portion of GRTs into that fund. And then lastly, we have the trust and agency funds. That's the impact fees that are collected in the planning and zoning office, which, as we know, per the new GPA, will also be going up to Santa Fe. So that's budgeted there.
And if I can just add one thing on the wastewater, we've mentioned this before, but we're doing an audit of all the hookups to make sure that everybody's paying that's hooked up to the system accurately and that sort of thing.
Misty had a question on the grants and how that factors in and some of our limiting factors there. Last year that came up and we had overlooked some of the grant possibilities into the calculations. Could
So,
you speak to
I
that a little
can.
bit?
So what we've opted to do this year, and again, town manager and I discussed this as well, is we are going to create a new set of budget line items for each grant specifically. That way they're not all in one bucket like they were in prior years, so you guys can track more specifically the revenue and the expenditures per each grant in its own budget line item. So that will be coming down the pike. The town manager and I are currently working with DFA and DOT and all of our various departments, as well as the grant plant, to make sure that we have a good grasp on what all of our grants are, what those remaining balances are, and then we will add those to the budget via budget adjustment in front of the commission once we have those good, solid, clean numbers, and each grant will have their own budget line.
Perfect, thank you.
So on top of anybody who wants a copy of this, please give me your email and we'll forward it to you. This, Misty, please confirm, this will be posted on the website.
Yes.
I just wanted to come up to the microphone because, and make a suggestion. When you have a workshop like this, people ask questions from the audience, and when it's going to YouTube or wherever it goes to, people can't hear the question, and they lose focus on what's really being discussed. So for this meeting, I'd be happy to volunteer to take a microphone to individuals so that way people can be heard. Secondly, those line items, would they also include an expiration date of that potential, or any potential expiration dates for those grants?
We can definitely build that into there. So I know a lot of the ones, specifically the law enforcement, those were built in, that would be like law enforcement 2022, something like that, that would kind of show those. And we can name those and build those however we choose for that better tracking.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Turn the switch on.
How many grants do we have?
Turn the switch on. Can you hear me now?
That might be the one where you have to talk really loud.
Testing, testing.
There you go, with enthusiasm.
Yes, can you give me a quick list of grants that are currently contributing to our revenue, please?
I can't give you a quick list without going back and referring to a document, but we have 10 or less grants right now.
What I will say, though, is currently in the FY27, those revenues are not included in these revenue projections. Again, we want to create separate funds and lines for all of those, so those will be done via budget adjustment. And we can even do those in between interim and final once we get those hard numbers back from our research with the other entities. But in this projection that Commissioner Taylor's showing, there's no grant revenue in this one.
But just to confirm, this does show the expense percentage of that grant within it, correct?
So there's no grant expenses, revenue or expenses in this current FY27 budget projection until we identify what those are. There will be, once we do those budget adjustments, there will be an offsetting revenue and expenditure.
Interesting, okay.
So I love the idea of a balanced budget. The next challenge is, what about getting back some of that 3.8 million?
I think this is the first step.
Okay.
I mean, we have, this is by far the first step, and then moving forward, as long as we could stay on Ozempic and get skinny, and then we have more budget allocation, or more budget, or bandwidth, if you will, we could then begin. But again, that all starts with right now, and implementing and having accountability and proper procedures to maintain this discipline for the next 24 months to 36 months and prove that it's achievable. But at the same time, it takes this same people in this room to continue to show up just like this JPA agreement, just like this, to also hold us accountable, or else it's going to go away, in my opinion. Because, I mean, technically my term ends next year, so I'll be here next year, and by golly, I'll be doing this. But then after that, if I'm not here again, well, then the next person, we don't know if they're going to maintain it. So I just ask you guys to hold us accountable as well.
Misty had a question on the audits. Is that going to affect our grants to some extent?
It will affect the grants to some extent. We have been working, of course, with DFA and Mr. Cog, and thus far they've been allowing us to have a fiscal agent through Mr. Cog to allow us to access those grant funds. So we were able to access, of course, the FY23 grant. Once we completed that audit, we expect the same for FY24. So we're just staying in close communication with DFA and Mr. Cog to make sure that relationship still stays alive.
Thank you.
I have a quick question. You mentioned a good thing just a second ago about bandwidth. Are we getting close to exceeding that right now?
Can you elaborate on that?
Yes. Is our internet appropriate in size to carry the full budget online along with everything else that we have
yeah.
online?
Not even, we're nowhere near saturating our bandwidth.
We're not?
No.
That's why I asked that question.
Fair enough. Anybody else for questions? Okay. Well then, if there's no questions, if whoever wants a copy of this, if you guys could just come up and see me so I could type down your email, and then I'll send you the copy of this. Please and thank you. I have yours. You're good. You could chill. I have both of yours. You're welcome.
Oh, thank you. How can we keep the idea of the second? How can we keep this momentum of being under, just the second meeting of every month, even if it has to be a special meeting before the regular town meeting, to keep everybody accountable?
Was that like a resolution or something that we implement for our own?
Yeah.
For
We
ourselves?
would just throw it on the agenda, make a motion, and declare every second meeting of the month budget.
And what we could do to add more fidelity to that is actually put the folks on a spend plan and have them evaluate that during this every 2 weeks or monthly, whether you're underspent or overspent, or you're on target.
Yeah.
And we could
exactly.
add that into our procedures.
We have to do that for paying our own bills, you know?
Cool. Oh,
I came in just a second late because of the rain. Is there any way I could see the headings of F, G, and I for you got the bottom line, but what's the heading at the top? Thank you.
no. Adrian?
So many years ago, along with looking at the budget on the second meeting, we got the reporting from the GRT as to how much money was coming in that month. And I know there was a period of time where there were some anomalies to that. And, you know, we wouldn't have found that if we weren't looking at it monthly. So I think that's something else that needs to be included is what GRT amounts are coming in.
Okay, noted. Anybody else? Going once, going twice. Okay, if you want a copy, please just come up here and visit me so I can get your email. I appreciate it. Thank you. You're welcome. And Misty, thank you. And Kelly and commissioners.
Okay, if there are no further questions, comments, we'll move on to adjournment. Okay, all right, we're adjourned. Thank you.